At a live retailer conference on June 8th, Jonathan Hickman, Brian Hitch, and CB Cebulski unveiled their plans for a full-scale resurrection of the Ultimate Universe. After the events of Ultimate Invasion, which will see the maker attempt to restore the Ultimate Universe, a new version of it will be born out of that conflict. In November, Marvel will then launch the new Ultimate Universe with Ultimate Universe #1 by Jonathan Hickman and Stefano Caselli. It will serve as a jumping on point and a lead-in for the line-wide relaunch. The fucking Ultimate Universe is back.
It's a good thing, right?
I don't know about that.
Who knows?
It's a weird thing. It is.
That's what we're here to talk about. That's the show, Marco. Great question.
So to end the stream now? That's it?
Well, we haven't answered it.
We do it?
Wow. Hello and welcome to the show. This should be a good morning. We're going to obviously be talking about Marvel's Ultimate Universe Reborn. We've got a lot to say about that. So, hopefully you guys are ready to have that conversation. It's funny because, when they first announced Ultimate Invasion, it was like, what the hell is this? And we had, almost an hour conversation about what it could be. And we all said, Marco wasn't there, but Kale, Tyler, and I all said, okay, sure, resurrecting the Ultimate Universe, fine. Why? What is it? How is it going to be different? I don't feel like this announcement actually answered one single question other than the fact that it's coming back.
That sounds completely on brand.
Yeah, it sure does. Does that bother you guys that we don't know anything more?
Absolutely. I love the idea that it's coming back. Why? The fact that there's no information about it makes me care less at the moment. It's all this, it's just another event to hype everyone.
Right.
This false engagement. Keep
For
it in
me,
your
it's just
mind. It's coming. Ooh.
Like, even though this is announced and we know, like, all right, Ultimate Universe, we're back, baby, we're back. But I just, like, what does this mean? Like, I've seen the line of Marvel Comics right now. Can they afford to add, more? Like, is this just, all right, we have an Ultimates book, and there'll be an Ultimate Miles book. And I don't know, like, do they do what's the big three? Avengers, Spider-Man, X-Men, right? For Ultimates?
Early days, at least, yeah.
Yeah. So they do like three new books, or are we talking like line wide? Like, here's 15 new ongoings with all Italian artists, because we can pay them cheaper. But I will say it is nice to see Stefano Caselli. This is the New Warriors reunion here with Hickman and Caselli. So that is enough to
Secret Warriors.
That Warriors, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the right Warriors, yeah. It was not Golden State either.
No.
That's a basketball joke, rare one from me. But yeah, I don't know if I'm excited. I'm just like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I've never
You
experienced.
said that so sheepishly. I'm
Well,
excited.
I'm excited.
I've never experienced the even to go back to read some of the stuff. So it feels like a moment of Marvel that I would have missed, similar to like if I had started reading comics later and I would have missed the New 52 moment. And so now that it's coming back, I'm like, oh, I can get in on what these guys have an understanding for, and it can kind of bring me a little bit deeper into the fold.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this will be very unlike the original one.
Well, let's refer back to that in a moment. So this is directly from the Marvel.com article that blew the doors open on this announcement. So it says, in the same vein as the groundbreaking Ultimate Comics line that defined the 2000s with bold storytelling and risk-taking twists on Marvel characters, Hickman and Hitch's new universe will revolutionize the world outside your window. Witness the spark that will light this new age in Ultimate Invasion. After the makers' desperate attempt to restore the Ultimate Universe unleashes massive unintended consequences, a group of Marvel's heroes are caught in a war between timelines. As universes collide, the foundation of a new line of Ultimate Comics will be built. Okay, so what do we know? The Ultimate Universe spawns out of the chaos of Ultimate Invasion. After that, we're going to get this one shot, Ultimate Comics #1, or Ultimate Universe #1, rather. And that's going to set the table. What happens next? Is there a reason for an Ultimates line in 2023? Because let's just think real fast about what it was like when the Ultimates launched over 20 years ago now. Remember, this is Marvel and just comics right out of the 90s. Things were not great. They needed to do something radical. Marvel in particular needed to do something radical. The characters in the main line were stale, and they didn't feel like they were fulfilling the promise anymore of these characters representing the world outside your window. You know, it wasn't the same. And so the idea was, hey, let's take our best and brightest and put them on this new line where they can go hog wild. It was almost like letting these creators have an imprint, a shared imprint within Marvel. It's not creator owned, but these guys were doing whatever the hell they wanted. That's what made it special. Can they still do that? Because we all know Marvel's toothless now.
Yeah, Bendis spearheaded a lot of the Ultimate Universe with Ultimate Spider-Man. And while it has a lot of flavor of Spider-Man, it's very different. Gwen is Carnage. MJ's the one that gets thrown off the bridge by the Green Goblin. Everything is truncated and weird for Peter Parker. But then you get stuff like Ultimate X-Men, which was just all over the damn place. I don't see it happening that way again. I think Marvel's not desperate enough yet for it to work that well.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, I'm still not convinced that it doesn't share similarities with the MCU.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at this image, the first Ultimate Universe one-shot #1, like there are some silhouetted characters in the background, and there's nothing I love more than a Marvel mystery silhouette.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
It's my favorite thing ever. But you can tell Spider-Man's back there. A Spider-Man is back there. And a Black Panther looks like it's back there. I don't know who the guy on the front right is, but that's definitely a Black Panther on the other side. So, again, these are the prominent MCU characters in a way. But I don't know. I don't know. It's they can't just pick up where they left off. That's for sure. I don't see that being a possibility.
Well, here's the problem.
Yeah.
When you look at that cover, like you said,
Yep.
You notice those characters that are silhouetted. Let's talk about the ones that aren't.
Yeah.
Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. Now, they're very obviously in their Ultimate Universe costumes. And that implies, it doesn't guarantee, but it implies that they're the same versions of those characters. Thor you can get away with, but that version of Cap is very, very specific and not like the Cap from the movies or the mainline comics. So let's say for the sake of this conversation that your theory is not correct, that this is not an MCU, in comics, right? are they really just going to bring us the same versions of these characters that we've already seen and reboot the whole line? At that point, that's garbage.
But that feels in line with the sort of lack of hedging that, or rather, the hedging that Marvel has been doing. Like, you're going to play it safe. You guys know these characters. Here they are. Once again, that feels clean and easy and something like, all right, I'm going to lock in on the nostalgia, not on the Ultimate line as a concept or vehicle for innovation.
It does feel like a nostalgia. Think about it. Like where all those like nostalgia books that are out right now. Joe
Ben
Fixit
Reilly
and stuff
and
like that. Yeah. Like we have
Yeah.
Planet Hulk going on. But like Planet Hulk is like there's like a nostalgia book for that. The Ultimates is older than that, So
Yeah.
are we it's just big Ultimate Universe nostalgia bait, really? And they're just gonna try and be like, all right, well let's cash in on the people who have money. Let's just try to pick up where we're left off and forget about that whole Secret Wars end times thing, Weird.
But like, my thing is this: the characters that I have nostalgia for, and I started reading comics with Ultimate Spider-Man and New Avengers.
Yeah.
So I'm right there, right? But the characters that I have nostalgia for are not the Ultimate characters. Those, to me, in my mind, those feel very specific. I like those stories because they're so tied to the people that wrote them. Like, think about that universe. Think about the lifespan of the Ultimate Universe versus the lifespan of any other, Marvel, DC, whatever. You're talking about 50, 60, 70 plus years of storytelling versus 10 or 15 at most.
I think there are people who have nostalgia for these characters.
I'm not saying they don't. I was just talking about myself.
Sure, yeah.
Do I care about Ultimate Spider-Man written by whoever? Not really. Ultimate Spider-Man by Bendis, those stories are what I have nostalgia for.
Yeah, I think specifically with Spider-Man too, like that was only Bendis, really.
Right. He's the only person that wrote that main line, like that book, ever, as far as I know.
Yeah, so I
When
agree with your take on Spider-Man.
When you think about Ultimate X-Men, right? Which writers do you think about?
I couldn't tell you.
Miller, right?
Kirkman?
Ultimate X-Men's a blind spot for me. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
When you think about Ultimates, you think about Miller. I don't really care too much what other writers want to do with the Ultimates, because Hickman did well with them, but he didn't even finish his food. So we didn't even see that resolution of that. So really, the only one that got it done was Miller.
He's pretty busy.
Right.
Doing a podcast, right?
Yeah, that takes a lot of time. So yeah, I like, do you guys disagree with me then? Or it's just my feeling personally, but do you feel differently? Are you nostalgic for these characters, that world?
No, because like you say, those stories are emblematic of a truncated history. It's stuff that is that I use specifically to sort of get a flavor of what is going on in the main universe, and then my love transferred over to the main universe because that was the real version.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in the case of the Avengers and the Ultimates.
Well, like Matt in the chat, and I remember this, he pretty much only read the Ultimate Universe. So there are people out there who are because they were so invested in it, because they can start at a starting point, that's their universe and that's what they cared about. But when did they get rid of it? 6 years ago at this point?
12?
That long?
14?
Right. So do those people still care? I don't know.
Probably. Same people who pick up the Joe Fixit book and the Ben Riley book.
I'm not sure those are exactly the same people, but
But there's an audience there.
See, but the thing with that is that those books are being written by the same people who were writing them 30 years ago. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to tell me that you're going to get Bendis back, you know, and you're going to bring the band back together, then sure. But that to me, that's different. Like if I tell you, right, I'm nostalgic for like Grant Morrison's Batman, right? I don't want you to go get another writer to tell stories in that time frame. If I want new stories from then, I want Morrison. You know what I'm saying?
you're reading Chip anyway, so like that's
Well, but that's one aspect, not the idea of the run.
sure. Honestly, though, I do think the possibility of Bendis coming back to Ultimate Spider-Man is high. Like that smells San Diego Comic-Con announcement to me.
Yeah, I mean, they keep farming out Slott to come back to Spider-Man every 10 seconds. Like Spider-Man isn't selling like hotcakes no matter what they do.
Right.
Isn't Bendis locked in to DC for the next few
No,
years?
he's done.
Oh no,
No.
he is. Yeah,
he's like
done.
only doing stuff at like Dark Horse right now, some creator-owned stuff.
Yeah, he's talked about how he's very happy doing creator owned, but you know, creators lie.
Especially when it comes to paychecks.
Right. I did want to first of all say thank you to everybody that is currently watching live. You guys are great, and I appreciate all the comments. Keep them coming. You guys really showed up today. To switch gears just a little bit. When the Ultimate Universe first launched, you had Brian Hitch. And Brian Hitch created the look and feel of that universe. He really kind of built the blueprint, you know, and he's who you associate in your mind visually probably with, you know, that line of comic books. To me, the Ultimate Universe was as much about the look as it was the way the stories were being told. Hickman, you know, we'll talk about him a little bit more in a moment, but is Caselli the Hitch of this era? Is Caselli the guy to, you know, usher us into this new world? When they do announce the inevitable Ultimates, is he the one that will be on art there? Or is there another artist that you think they should be tapping to be the guy?
Honestly, I think Caselli is a smart choice. I think Caselli feels like an evolution of Hitch. So I think in terms of vibe, it fits. But also, like, Hitch has been a machine this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if Hitch is going to be doing everything. Isn't Hitch working on like Image stuff too? Yeah, like, geez, that guy's putting in work.
Do you guys want to read it if it's not Hitch?
Oh, I'm fine with
Yeah.
reading it if it's not Hitch. Yeah.
So the art's fine, but not the writer?
Yes, because Hitch's style has changed. I mean, to me, Hitch doesn't feel the same as Hitch used to feel.
Hitch was different for the time, you know? It was like a new thing to see Hitch art. I was like, whoa, look at this. But then, you know, 20 years later, it hasn't changed. So that's not fair. That's not fair to say it hasn't changed, but it's no longer the new
It's
thing.
not Mark Bagley.
Man, I was just about to say put Mark Bagley on Ultimate.
Yeah, keep him away.
He can't do
I'm done with
hairstyles. He
Mark
cannot do a
Bagley.
modern hairstyle. But Spider-Man Life Story.
Hey, he
top
can't
tier.
do a modern book.
Who else can be on that? Jeez. It's funny because, like, in terms of art that I like stuff like, you know, like a Daniel Warren Johnson or James Herron and stuff like that. But like that is what like modern comic booky art feels like to me, or even like Leonardo Romero, which we'll talk about later. But that's like a more modern cartoony style. Like the idea of what modern comics looks like to me does not fit the Ultimate Universe in any shape or fashion in my head. Like all the artists I listed, I can't imagine them doing an Ultimates book, you know?
Well, I mean, you have people like look at how they tap Pepe Larraz to
Sure.
curate the look and feel of the X books. in the Krakoan era. That's all it has to be. Like, it just, there has to be somebody who, you know, is talented enough and has vision enough to create a style and a look and feel for a whole universe.
Set the tone.
Right.
For me, the bigger question is, does Hickman stay?
Nah.
I don't know.
I don't think
I
so.
really I've felt burned from him leaving X-Men. I genuinely I don't blame him for going. But I can't imagine he sticks around. Like now I think I just have a picture of him being the guy that does something cool and then leaves.
Sets it all up and then here,
He's
play
like
with my
my dad.
toys.
And he's
Just
like,
kidding.
I'm gonna go grab some milk.
I guess to me, the biggest indicator that he won't be staying, and this is probably not accurate, but it's the fact that this is a one shot.
yeah, that, and then Gods is happening, which Gods is the one that he's mentioned having a Bible for, quote unquote. Like, we've heard, they're like, the Hickman buzz for Gods feels like Hickman buzz. It feels like what Hogspox was like. This seems so secondary to me that it almost feels like, you do something for us, you do Gods, you know? Or he's kicking this off maybe, and then other people will kind of take over. Even like there's even more traction on his Substack book. That thing that's hard to say, like GW or whatever.
Three worlds, three moons.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. So I don't know. It doesn't compute to me to imagine Hickman on potentially 3 books at one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a hard time buying.
Like 2 always seem to be his limit in a way, like for it to be quality.
For it to be quality, for it to finish.
Yeah,
and even then.
That too, yeah.
And even then it doesn't.
Like, his problems never is the book good. It's does it end? You know, like, does he get to finish it? I think Marvel uses Hickman now as a world builder.
Yeah.
That's
Architect.
I mean, I think that's probably his best strength. I think his writing is untouchable. But just in terms of like building out worlds that other people can then like do things in, they use them for that. For, you know, the X-Men, we know that Gods is supposed to be expanding and probably, quote unquote, humanizing the more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like esoteric, non-physical characteristics of the celestial beings at Marvel, making them more interactable and stuff like that. We know that. So I even think when it comes to Gods, it's more, okay, we need these characters to be characters that we can use as characters in the MCU and etc., not just as big bodies of, you know, whatever floating in space. Can you do that? And I think that's what Hickman's doing there with Gods.
I think that's the priority for him at the moment, is especially if that's tying into MCU stuff. Hey, you know, go play this little teaser out with Ultimate, and then just come right back. You got work to do.
Yeah, it's really really interesting. I don't think Hickman is going to be around for the long term, and so if he's not, who is? Who is Marvel going to conscript to be the drivers of this new MCU or this new Ultimate Universe? And I'm going to throw one out right away. Donny Cates.
Oh yeah, okay.
Donny Cates. I know you're shaking your head, but here's the facts. Donny Cates was rumored as far back as 2019 to have been working on an Ultimate Universe book. CB Cebulski, we even talked about this the last time we talked about Ultimates. CB Cebulski refused to discuss the idea of Donny Cates specifically, but he did say that the Ultimate Universe is something that they're thinking about. At that time, it was 2019, so he said, in a year from now, it'll be the 20-year anniversary. If we were going to do something, it would probably be then. Obviously, we missed the time frame, but do I believe that Donny Cates was working on and cooking up a potential reborning of the Ultimate Universe? Yes. Do I also believe that then Hickman was now cooking with the X-Men and they were like, wait, we have something here. Maybe he should be the guy? Yes, I believe that too. So I think Donny Cates is next up, and I think he's writing Ultimates.
Based on the scuttlebutt and his personal life, I don't think Donny Cates is doing anything anytime soon.
I think you guys put way too much stock in that. The dude got divorced. That was a long time ago.
It hits people differently, Sean.
Dan.
He got to work. What do you
Lie.
mean? He has to earn money. That was a long time ago. You think he's just sitting at home, not going to earn money?
Well, he has money that he didn't give to the workers, you know.
Yeah.
He's got
My
plenty.
man did lose a comic book company not that long ago.
I just and just based on like the rumors in the background, like outside of that, I think he's gonna be gone for a little bit.
Well,
I mean, maybe
who
we get
else is
actual,
there,
maybe
though?
like a non-white dude on an Ultimates book.
No.
Yeah. Like
Find
there's
some,
nobody
you know.
there's nobody that's strong enough, you know, in the Marvel stable, you know, no one I would look at and go, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah, because the Marvel stable is now current DC.
Well, listen,
Like Kelly
Al
Thompson would have been a great
Ewing.
person to put on one of these books, but Kelly's doing some killer stuff, you know, and create her own space, you know, with the Cull coming up as well, and you know DC stuff. Like she, I don't know, man.
I feel like I can see them calling Ewing, and honestly, who's that one dude? Groran Thurenbeck or something? What's this
Torn
dude's name?
Grombeck?
She's
Yeah,
she
she's
is
good.
very talented. Yes.
Oh, that's a woman. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, I think those are both great names who should be involved. Absolutely.
Matt throws a good one out there. Priest.
What?
I think Priest could work in the Ultimate Universe. Honestly,
I don't.
I
Not
love
not on
Priest,
a
though.
universe building book though.
No, and I think that's what Hickman. I think Hickman is doing the universe building, and everyone's going to get blueprints, and you know,
Yeah.
go from there. You know, I think this is a condensed Hoxpox in a way, or like Hoxpox
Yeah.
accidentally became that. Where I feel like this is purposely being that.
There's nothing wrong with obviously with Priest. But to be, you know, Tyler was talking about having a you know person of color on the Ultimates book. If you're gonna get a Black or Spanish or Asian creator to spearhead something like that, they have to have a name that sells books by themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there is a Black. I'll speak for Black. I don't think there's a Black writer whose name just sells books by themselves. I don't think that exists.
I mean,
Yo,
Coates has been gone for a while. You know, since Cap. I think Coates had a name for a bit.
Yeah.
And if the Ultimate's supposed to be as close to outside of our window as possible, I mean, nobody likes writing that. Then Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Something tells me he'd have a problem with Captain America.
I mean, he did when he wrote it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a chance with this new universe that they might even try to do something radically different with these characters. Let's keep in mind that the Ultimate Universe featured, you know, a lot of variations in character. Captain America is obviously very different. Thor's, you know, different enough, although he kind of gets closer to the Thor we know as things go along. Colossus notably was gay. You know, there were several key differences in character that felt bold and new at the time in ways that, you know, if you made those same changes today, I mean, who cares? But what changes do you think they might make? Do you think this will be an opportunity for them to further diversify Marvel by saying a wild example, right? I'm not saying this is what I think will happen. The Iron Man under that costume is actually a Black dude. Tony Stark's Black in this world.
We should call him War Machine.
Do you think that?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Sean. Like, I think this is a good opportunity to be like, you know what, race change, you know, gender change, everyone. Like, make what I would want is like literally like a new Ultimate Universe, like start from a somewhat ground level. If you want to anchor it with, you know, the 3 big Ultimates characters or 4 with Miles, feel free. But like, I'd want to see like, I don't know, new characters in new ways. Like their Wolverine, the Ultimate Wolverine, is probably the most complicated character in that world. Like, solidify that for me, you know. Maybe give like, I don't know, like Ultimate Daredevil didn't do much, you know. So like maybe something there. There's barely like an Ultimate Moon Knight. Like I think there's characters who maybe didn't really get that much of a shine in the Ultimate Universe that I think you could just reinvent, who are much bigger now in terms of like the public image. Like, is there an Ultimate She-Hulk? Like I don't even know at this point. So
I don't recall.
Ultimate Jack of Hearts. Let's just do something weird.
That's a good idea, because then you get to play with the remaining characters, because I'm assuming that since the Ultimate Universe was a bit more final with some of its characters, that you might not have the same sort of stable of just names to play with, and so you're gonna have to find your variations. You're gonna have to find those other characters should bring people into the fold. So I can definitely see that as like a possibility. But for the characters that are immediately recognizable, I don't think they're going to change, unless it is somebody that they're introducing that is new, or somebody that previously didn't get a spotlight.
There's no Ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy either. Like,
boom, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Marco there. I don't see it. I don't like, you know, we said earlier, they're not brave enough to do something like that. You know, they're not gonna, I don't think Marvel and thereby Disney is brave enough to take the, oh, Superman's gay now headlines. And, you know, they did once for Bendis. I don't think they'll do that again.
Even under the fact that this is an entirely, you know, separate universe and isn't going to affect the 616 stuff, that's not going to matter. Yeah.
Not to Glenn Beck or whoever is Glenn Beck now. Like,
you know what they should do? They should make Nick Fury white.
Bro, I genuinely didn't know that he wasn't black until you guys told me.
Which is
like a week
hilarious. If they make Nick Fury black, I'm out. Or if they make him white, rather, I'm out.
We're done.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, I won't stand for whiteface.
I don't know, man. Like I actually love the Ultimate Universe. Maybe that's not coming across, but I do love it. You know,
You're
obviously
big,
I have to facilitate
Ultimate Wanda and
conversation.
Pietro fan. I know.
Hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Listen, Jeff Loeb was onto something. Anyway,
sister?
Maybe. I love the Ultimate Universe. I really, really do. I don't know if Marvel is brave enough or scared enough to be bold enough to make this something truly special. And that's what it has to be to matter. Because it's not like the mainline universe just not selling and it's just dire straits. I mean, they're doing fine. They're Marvel Comics, right? Like they're on top. I don't know if they need this.
That's the thing. I just like, I don't even necessarily understand the experiment right now, because they've put so many ducks in the basket of making things consumable for new readers and everything. You know, even Marvel Unlimited, if you want to, you can read, you know, Amazing Fantasy and get the origin of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, we're in a completely different world than when the Ultimates started. So I don't understand what they want to do.
Yeah. It's a big question of who is it for me, you know?
Yeah.
I think there's only really 2 people it could be for. Ultimate Universe nostalgia people. Or they redo the Ultimate Universe and it's a brand new, fresh on jumping point for anyone. You know? I don't really see a middle ground that makes sense there.
Well, I agree with Top Lane. This defeats the purpose of the Ultimate line. This is not a new universe where you can start from zero.
Yeah.
What if the point of the Ultimate line was continuity light storytelling featuring top tier creators with characters you love in different ways? Then how does this service that if theoretically it's just going to be, back to what they were doing before the Ultimate Universe got removed? Maybe they'll restore aspects of it and not others.
Yeah.
We don't really know the details of all of that. I don't think it's nearly as compelling if it's not a fresh start.
And also, like, the ramifications of it. If they're bringing this back, that means that the what were they in Hickman's Avengers when the worlds would collide?
Yeah, the incursions.
Incursions.
Incursions. It kind of defeats the purpose of the incursions. And, like, all right, what other worlds are coming back at this point?
Well, they did solve that at the end of Secret Wars, to be fair.
True. But yeah, it's just. I think if they want to be like, all right, this is pre-ultimatum, before things started really getting bad, maybe that's what it is. It's like trying to like catch it before the blob started eating the wasp,
But then, like, yeah, go ahead, Marco. You haven't gotten a word in.
I was just gonna say I think that's a really good point, that the Ultimate Universe is supposed to be a continuity light experience, and now you're gonna restart it, and now I have to do all of my homework, but not for the mainline Marvel stuff. Now I gotta do it for this whole other fucking universe. Like, that feels like work. And being somebody who likes to start at one or as close to one as I can, knowing that there is a place to start, and it's only like 10, 15 years ago, more. Like, all right, it's better than 60, 70 years, but still, it's homework.
I almost feel like the opposite. I almost feel like when it's that far, when amazing fantasy is where I got to start for Spider-Man, I won't. I'll just jump in because it's too much. Or if it's like only 10 years, I'm like, well, I could probably read that.
Oh, I started like a few years back. I had gone to do the Spider-Man stuff, like just because I'm that anal for some of that stuff.
You started at literally Amazing Fantasy?
Yeah, and then I went to Spider-Man and all that stuff.
And you're like, never mind, I'm just gonna go back to Swamp Thing.
Let's talk about Miles real quick, because Miles Morales is the most important thing to come out of the Ultimate Universe. And
only thing to come out of the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah. And obviously now Miles is his own dude in the mainline Marvel universe and don't need no Ultimate Universe. How do you handle the character? Do you just say, hey, let's make him the ultimate Spider-Man? Is that the way you solve the problem of him feeling like Pete's little buddy? If you look at the Spider-Man game, he's Pete's little buddy. If you look at mainline Marvel, he's always like, oh, well, what would Peter do? And blah, blah, blah. Do you take him out of the Marvel universe, put him in Ultimate where he has to be on his own and get it done by himself? Or will there be or do you just reboot Miles in the Ultimate Universe and there will be one there and one in mainline?
I have a hot take on this, actually.
Shoot it.
I don't think Miles is the issue. I think Peter's the issue.
Yeah.
I say you get rid of Peter from the mainline Marvel Universe.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
I think the storytelling is much more rife for potential for Miles and in the main Marvel universe. Like it hasn't been tapped into in comics since Secret Wars, really.
We'll do that in Ultimate. Go. Bye.
I'm tired of Peter. I'm sorry. Like, have the Peter stories be. Put Peter in the Ultimate Universe. Everyone loves Ultimate Peter Parker. Let's bring that back. Run that back. Yeah, make Miles my Spider-Man. That's how I feel. Man, I'm gonna get roasted on TikTok for this. Well, I'm editing it, so
it's what we've talked about before. Peter Parker in the mainline universe needs to level up.
Yeah, agreed.
You can't keep resetting Peter Parker so he's a broke college student every 5 minutes. That's why they can't get Miles off the ground, is because Peter's always going to be Peter.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tyler's wacky suggestion aside,
I will actually tag on to
Here.
the words of what Tyler said, because as Top Lane points out, they resurrected Ultimate Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe.
Sure.
So what are we gonna do?
We kill off Peter Parker in the new Miss Marvel series.
An Ultimate Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a character that could become the Ultimate Universe.
Oh.
I think that sending Miles back would be admitting defeat.
Yeah.
But it's all about the result. If the result is that it's a great Miles story and all of a sudden this character feels like a big deal, he's maybe on the Ultimates, he's the Spider-Man, right? And he gets to be that, and you get to tell unique stories with the character where he grows, changes, and evolves. The result will be that people will love it because the quality was there. But if they send Miles back to the Ultimate Universe and he's just a dude, then people will take it as a defeat, and that might actually kill Miles off in terms of people's interest in him in comics.
But wouldn't you get that regardless? Like, you could be like, oh, he's back, and you're telling really good stories with him, and his characters are growing, and the world is being built. But it's just Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, what does that matter?
I think there might be an opportunity to maybe make his, like, if they say they do bring Miles back to the Ultimate Universe, he's back to Ultimate Spider-Man. What if there's an Ultimate Gwen there? What if you kind of take the Prowler, make that prominent as well? Like, what if you take the parts people like about the Spider-Verse Miles, the one that's probably the most well known, even more than the comic version, and you make that what the Ultimate Universe is about for Miles, and then he can jump back and forth whenever he wants because it's Spider-Verse-y, but
right. I honestly, I think I wouldn't put it past Marvel to do this. I don't think it's inherently a bad idea. I don't know that I want to see it. I want them to do more with Miles in mainline comics, but quite frankly, when you see, the creative team that Peter has, and you see the creative team that Miles has, you know that it's never going to be equal. And so maybe the best solution is to get them away from each other. Because quite frankly, the experiment has not worked. It's been a failure.
And also, it might be a way to fix the Spider-Gwen issue, too. Like, if she's Ultimate Spider-Woman now, you don't have to call her friggin' Ghost Spider or whatever.
Ugh. Right. Yeah. Let's hit some comments because obviously people have a lot to say about this. So let's see. Atomic Hound says, will Marvel do something different in terms of digital or marketing? I could see them doing digital first, or not digital first, but digital day and date for the Ultimates line.
Nah, I don't see that. That's too much, even for this big of a thing.
What if instead of doing digital day and date, they do Marvel Unlimited day and date? So if you have a subscription, you can get that day and date. If you don't, you'd have to buy the same, whatchamacallit?
Well, if they do that, then how many titles is this going to be? Because if they do that, I'm paying $8.99 for one title.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, who knows? I mean, but you get more. Wait, Kale, are you saying the $8.99 is the subscription?
Yeah.
Because you probably use Marvel Unlimited for more than just that. So that would be like a bonus for you. The same way that, like, with major huge titles, they release them day and date on there. Like I think Avengers 1 was day and date. I'm not 100% sure,
so.
but
Yeah,
so the same way they do that in a limited basis now, I'm just applying that to the entire Ultimates line, which I would imagine would be between 3 to 5 books.
Yeah.
It'd be cost effective if so. Worth the subscription.
What do you maybe this derails things a bit, but what do you think those 3 or 5 books could be? Like, what do you think they launch with?
Iron Man, Cap, Spider-Man.
Boy. You tell somebody's never read the fucking Ultimate Universe.
Huh?
Let's do it. Ultimates,
Ultimates
Yep.
for sure. Ultimate Spider-Man probably.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
X-Men.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No?
How could you not? Like,
I think you could not because Ultimate X-Men is confusing, and I think they know that.
but this would be the perfect point to reboot it.
Sure. Or a perfect point to like save that for like wave 2 or something, you know?
I think they have to do I think they have to do something a little weird. Like I like the Moon Knight idea, whether it's Moon Knight, whether it's, you know, Miss Marvel, someone who didn't really have a presence
Yeah.
in the Ultimate Universe. I think one of the books featuring a character like that would be a great idea.
Blade.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a Maker book, you know, but not Fantastic Four. Like, could it be like Ultimate
Right.
Illuminati or something?
Mm.
Because I think
Yeah,
the Maker is being set up as like he's number 2 next to Miles.
Right.
And he's kind of Sean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but this the way they've been writing the Maker lately almost feel like he's in the middle of a turn.
Yeah, the way that
Right?
this whole thing's being framed, it feels as though his desperation to bring the Ultimate Universe back is not to do anything like that.
Yeah, it's to
I
like
feel
go
like
back
he almost
home.
wants another chance.
Yeah, I feel a face turn coming, and maybe
Like
that's
he
how. Yeah, but
like like he just wants to go home type thing. Like it just hasn't really worked out in 616. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. Let me go back.
they got me
please."
relegated to Venom books. Come on.
Right. But I do agree with you on that. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so I think he gets a book somehow.
And that could be an interesting way to like explore the new Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
have him get reacquainted because he's a character that can travel, you know.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ultimate Nick Fury gets a book, especially with the prominence of Sam Jackson's Nick Fury and Secret Invasion and stuff. Like, there's your diverse book too. You know.
I like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Murphy pointed that out, that, you know, that's the other carryover. But I feel like that got so mixed in because of Sam Jackson. It just like, it doesn't feel ultimate anymore.
It
You know, it just kind of feels like the way it is.
It's not even the same character though. It's a very confusing backstory for that one.
Kenosha Kid says, my comic reading group read the entire Ultimate Universe from start to finish last year, so we are hyped for this. That's pretty cool.
That's cool. You got a comic reading group,
Nuts.
like a book club.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I wish we had one. Damn.
Yeah, I wish I had friends that read comics that I did a podcast with and talked about comics every single week, multiple
I
times
wish
a
we would
week.
do book club
Hey,
monthly or
nice.
something.
Actually, who was it? I think it was it not Top Lane? It was I'm sorry, I can't remember, but someone had put in our Discord server an exhaustive list of the Ultimate line. In terms of like the reading order. This was tremendous. I don't know if this was like their work that they like, this is just, you know, what they put together, how they read this, but this was an exhaustive list. It's a tremendous list. Shit, man, you made me want to read it in this order, and I already read this stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully he hears it.
Oh yeah, that was Top Lane.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Didn't they bring? Am I wrong on this? Did they bring Ultimate Wolverine's son to the main line? 616.
I don't recall that,
I don't.
and I hope that didn't happen, but
I
it could
feel like
have.
it happened in X-Men Gold.
I don't recall.
Feel like I remember there being a blonde Wolverine.
Yeah,
Back then.
I'll look that up.
Aaron Ruiz earlier on the artist conversation said Pepe Larraz, Patrick Gleason is a name that I thought would be really strong to do a modern take on something. Spider-Man would be great. I think Ultimates would be really good too.
Yeah. Like I think Pepe Larraz would be tremendous. Obviously, it feels like they just used him in a similar role, but should he have a position? I think so. I mean, I to be honest, I see a lot of DNA between his work and some Ultimate stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
feel like it's out of bounds. Let's see. Kushik Raja said, to be fair, I would like it if the Avengers changed their name to the Ultimates. Shows their revolution from Avengers to the ultimate best version of themselves. Also, can't wait for racist Cap. All right. Well, I get your point about the Ultimates, and I think based on the current run on the Avengers and Carol Danvers' little speech in issue 1, they should be the Ultimates because based on her logic, they're not Avengers; they are the Ultimates. So, yeah, I agree with that. And then can't wait for racist Cap. Yeah, me too. It was a great ride.
Racist.
Yeah,
Cap.
so he was on the Young X-Men. Jimmy Hudson is still in the main 616. Apparently, he is
Scary,
bonded to a poison symbiote. Remember those poison ones?
scary thought.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have long to wait before we get into the Ultimate Invasion because that's going to be starting June 21st. So just 2 new comic book days away
Oh wow. Okay.
Damn.
from seeing, what this is going to be. And then the actual line relaunch proper begins in September with Ultimate Universe #1. So it's imminent.
I will say I'm excited. I don't know what's gonna happen, and I don't know what happens after it, but I'm at least excited to get a taste of it again.
I'm excited too.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
That's
It's basically
baseline.
excited for Kale.
Yeah,
It could be good.
could be good.
Could
Classic catchphrase.
Oh man. All right. So we're gonna move along. Share your thoughts with us if you want to continue to about the Ultimate Universe. And if you're doing your rereads, if that's what you're into right now, join our Discord server because, like we said, one of our own members posted an exhaustive, incredible reading order for the Ultimate line. It makes perfect sense to me at a glance, having read this stuff. So I would say, yeah, if you're gonna do your reread, check out this reading order list for sure.